Another day, another adventure. Hello and welcome to Victoria Harbour Airport on Vancouver Island. We're about to take a scenic flight, but before that I hear you ask, how did you get to Vancouver Island? Well, let me tell you. After we finished exploring Vancouver itself in our last video, make sure to watch that if you haven't yet, it was time to finish our Canadian road trip exploring Vancouver Island. There's a variety of ways to get to Vancouver Island. We took the BC ferry from Cowichan to Swartz Bay, which takes about an hour and a half. And that brings us back to the harbor. Now before we're going to board the plane, I'd like to mention, we already got our tickets. When you book your flight, you also get a complimentary drink at the Flying Other next door. And as I'm not the one flying the plane, we're going to do that first. And we see you in the air.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Harbour Air offers a variety of scenic flights and is definitely a great way to explore the island from above. Like I always say, there's nothing like a bird-eye view. Victoria is the capital of British Columbia, home to around 100,000 people. Vancouver Island itself has approximately 900,000 residents and stretches about 400 kilometers in length. Most of the population lives in the south, while the central and northern parts of the island are largely untouched wilderness. That was absolutely amazing. Stunning views, highly recommended, so make sure to come down here and book your flight. Right over here I found something pretty neat, a British Columbia time capsule. This one contains records from 1966 and 1967, placed here on the 1st of January of 1967, meant to stay here closed for 100 years. So If you haven't booked your trip to Victoria yet, 1st of January 2067 is when they're gonna open this time capsule, and who knows what's inside? Let me know. And of course, besides the beautiful flight seeing over Victoria, there's plenty of sightseeing to do as well. But we will do that tomorrow after a good night's sleep at the Days Inn. This hotel is conveniently located in the harbour, giving some beautiful views from a room. Now, besides the location, the Days Inn has beautiful rooms, very friendly staff, and in comparison to all the other places, very comfortable prices. So make sure to stay in the Days Inn when you come down to Victoria. Whether you venture through town or take a hike along the beach, there's plenty things to do and see in and around Victoria. Another day, another adventure. Welcome back at the Days Inn in Victoria. We just checked out of our hotel room and today we're going to make a loop. Thanks to our pilot yesterday at our Scenic flight who recommended this loop to us. It's the Pacific Marine Circle route. We're going to do it counterclockwise and this route is going to take us through forest and beach and some interesting highlights along the way. So without further ado, this one is full, we're ready to go. First pit stop is the Malahat Skywalk, and I'll tell you more about it once we get there. Welcome to the Malahat Skywalk, at only 45 minutes drive from Victoria, and of course, as the name has already implied, we're here for the views. However, the Malahat Skywalk has a very particular way to get you back down. So we're here to see for ourselves what that is.
Left the nest when I was far too young. Never set my flight for the sun. Are you worth getting lost over love? If I offer myself, will you lift me up?
The Malahat Skywalk gratefully acknowledge that they live, work and welcome visitors on the traditional and ancestral territory of the Malahat Nation, a proud Coast Salish indigenous community and one of the 5 Scenic nations.
Find my home, will I find my home? My home in you, home in you.
As you can see behind me, there is a slide. You can slide down this entire tower once you're done. So it sounds like a lot of fun. We're gonna find out if it's a lot of fun. But first we're gonna go up to the top and look for some views. See you later. The slide is 19.5 meters tall and stretches out 52.75 meters, which comes down to 173 feet.
Lost over love, if I offer myself, will it lift me up? Is it worth letting into my heart? If I go and get caught, will I fall too far? Will I find my home? Will I find my home? My home in you, home in you. Will I find my home? Will I find my home? My home in you, home in you.
Needless to say that the views are absolutely spectacular. It is definitely worth your time coming down to the Malahat Skywalk. Now there's a one fun fact, and I hope that this time take 5. Right over there, I do it at the right point, is Mount Baker. Now the reason I'm pointing this out is for first of all, of course, Baker is our surname. Second of all, this mountain is actually in the United States. This is an ancient volcano, and as clear as we can see it from here, we also saw it yesterday when we did our scenic flight in Victoria. And a couple of days ago we also had a clear view of Mount Baker in the Vancouver lookout. So, Mount Baker for you. And of course the fun part, where we all came for, the slide. So what took 12 months to build will take me less than 10 seconds to ride. Let's have some fun. Down, down, and away. Woo! Kick, kick, kick! Whee! That was a fun ride. Speaking of rides, we're ready for the next leg of our trip. So, as I'm done panting, we'll see you back in the car. Now that was a lot of fun. So make sure to visit the Malahat Skywalk and definitely don't miss out on the slide. Up to our next destination. Welcome to Fairy Lake. I was really excited about this one. The reason this one is called Fairy Lake is because somewhere on the lake is a rock sticking out of the water, and on that rock is a tiny Douglas fir bonsai tree. And I lay the emphasis on tiny because I've been wandering around it for a while, but I don't see it. Maybe you have better luck. Welcome to the Botanical Bay. This place is really peaceful, and when we arrived I saw a few of those laying around. I've never seen one before. They're really interesting. They're really soft and squidgy and a bit sticky. And the first thing that came to mind when I saw it, and perhaps you had the same thought, Indiana Jones. So let's see if that works. And I tried this a couple of times and it always works without the camera. Okay, so I might not get a role in the next Indiana Jones movie. At least nobody got hurt. And now, no, this is not the bonsai tree from Fairy Lake. This Sitka spruce stays small because of the extreme harsh environmental conditions in which they grow. Despite being as old as some of the larger inland trees, if this tree had grown in the forest, it would not be a bonsai, but maybe have grown into a 50-meter high giant Sitka spruce. Another day, another adventure. Welcome to Cathedral Grove. This is also our final pit stop for our road trip, not just on Vancouver Island, but also for our time here in Canada. I will circle back to that later on. First of all, Cathedral Grove has been recommended to us by several people, and one of the reasons this is such a special place, besides this beautiful forest, is that some of the trees here are over 800 years old. So, who's up for a hike? Douglas fir trees are the ancient giants in this old growth forest. They are one of Canada's largest growing trees, as they are long-lived, tough and known for their rapid growth. Many of these trees are over 800 years old, surviving a forest fire that swept through this area around 350 years ago. The first word that comes to mind is humble. If you look at the size of the tree, the trunk, and then yourself, it's really humbling to see such old, big forest, and it makes you wonder like how small we are, right? So this is really beautiful. It's a very peaceful hike. It's an easy hike. So I highly recommend it to come down to this beautiful forest for a nice morning walk.
Hear the rivers deep, I'm fighting wars in my sleep and questioning everything I say. Was I raised to live that way? All my friends are calling me wild like the wind. I'm drifting all I've known and packing up and trying all my best to stay at home.
And one thing I really find fascinating about nature, life always finds a way. Whether it's the thick moss on the branches, mold, mushrooms, even fallen down or burned down trees are a birthplace of new life. Sometimes you see a tree growing out of a trunk of another tree. Life always finds a way and nature always finds a way to surprise and amaze you.
I've been told that all this fire in my
Circle of life.
bones. Go on, save my soul. Wiser men have run this ship alone.
Just amazing that these trees have been around and will be around longer than any of us. The largest tree in the park is this giant Douglas fir. It's over 800 years old, 76 meters tall and 9 meters round. That's 20 meters more than the Leaning Tower of Pisa in Italy. It was over 300 years old when Christopher Columbus came to North America in 1492. Douglas fir is one of Canada's oldest living tree species and can live to be over 1,000 years old. And that brings an end to our adventure, not only here on Vancouver Island, but also in Canada. And of course there's always plenty of more places that we didn't explore and plenty of more places that are worth the time to visit. But this is all the time we had here in Canada, and this were the stuff that were either on our itinerary or tips that we got from viewers and people we met along the way. And although we will be more than happy to come back to Canada for round number 2, for now we're gonna head towards Seattle and continue our journey towards Argentina on the longest road trip in the world. Let's get cracking! Welcome to Las Vegas! Make sure not to miss out and stick around, subscribe, like, hit the join button, and up to our next adventure. We see you back on the road.